We have a few minutes.
Spicy.
Page 71.
I'm a big food cake.
10.
If you did write down any, on page 71, if you did write down as many stereotypes as you can for people who are Asian. Like, it's okay to say these things.
Okay, go ahead.
Stereotypes.
The only
They're
thing
not
I'm gonna
like-
say, the only thing
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna say is they're smart.
So I watched this TikTok and got really angry at the teacher's casual normalization of bigotry. And then I read the comments. Lots of people were saying that this is part of a lesson on bigotry in their psych or management classes, and they talk about which biases to recognize in society or at work. Yeah, that's called unconscious bias training, and students are taught which ones to look out for. And while this TikTok teacher may have meant well, his lesson isn't going in that direction. He's validating the use of stereotypes. It's okay to say them, he says. They had to be read out loud by the students who wrote them, which can be embarrassing and telling. Students weren't advised to come at this assignment with empathy. They could have, thought of how they've personally been stereotyped or the harm that stereotypes bring. Instead, they were encouraged to play the role of the bully. And it all reminded me of a moment on TV when these people who worked at a paper company were forced by their boss to wear note cards on their foreheads that mentioned religions, races, nationalities, and they used all kinds of stereotypes to help each other guess their identity. So yes, Diversity Day from the office is what the teacher in this classroom did. This is the bully playbook. There's no shame in saying the quiet part out loud, and there's no shame in enabling others to become bullies. No discreetness, no understanding, no responsibility, sensitivity, no context, no humanity. Just tell your teacher the traits of people who tend to have disabilities, addictions, are homosexual, homeless. You know who's demeaning people who have disabilities, addiction, homelessness, or homosexual, right?
Written by a nice reporter. Now the poor guy, you got to see this guy. Oh, I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
And I don't want to make light of anybody's substance abuse issues. I know the president's working real hard to solve those throughout the country, but it's a little hard to believe that Burisma hired Hunter Biden to resolve their international disputes when he could not resolve his own dispute with Hertz rental car over leaving cocaine and a crack pipe in the car.
1910, Hitler decided to live on the streets for a while. So for 2 years, Hitler lived on the streets and practiced his oratory and his body language and how to connect with the masses, and then went on to lead a life that got him in the history books. So a lot of these people, it's not a dead end. They can come out of these homeless camps and have a productive life, or in Hitler's case, a very unproductive life.
So we had a vote. There was no ballot harvesting. You can trust our counting. And the new name for monkeypox is now officially, and we're declaring it, Schlong COVID.
Look in the mirror, Republicans. It's just you. So the right wing hears it from their special media and politicians, and then the domino effect of fear and hatred of the other infiltrates other areas of life.
There are many other public education issues concerning parents like myself. The slow creep of critical race theory, diversity, equity, and inclusion, gender identity, and allowing biological boys to enter girls' spaces and sports.
What did we hear from that concerned parent? That our kids are getting poisoned with learning how to respect and understand others? Transgenderism is just a petty stunt used to get access to girls' bathrooms and trophies, and white kids are being told they're responsible for black suffering. And what comes next? Right-wing adults, especially parents, expose younger generations to hate speech. They encourage them to create hierarchy among their peers, to distrust, ultimately to become victims. This is the actual behind-the-scenes indoctrination that we were afraid was happening, while Republicans, through CRT, sexualization of kids, and other squirrels at everyone. And they've got more.
Now we have SEL, which is social emotional learning. It's indoctrination disguised as programs like kindness initiatives or anti-bullying programs or diversity projects. These are all Marxist-style programs targeting our
So yes, SEL is the new CRT, gender identity. Yes.
So if we just blame people we don't like for society's ills, deny their existence, and make them second-class citizens, that won't make them self-doubt or become depressed or even harm themselves. No. But long-standing educational methods like social-emotional learning and anti-bullying practices, where kids learn to build relationships, learn accountability, and manifest kindness, those will surely traumatize them. Folks, the upside down is real.
It's funny, the people that are falling for this bullshit propaganda are the same people that call us sheep, that say we're all the same. And yet, this pushes for the idea of conformity. This pushes for the idea that everyone has to fit in a box or look the same or act the same. That's what this rhetoric does. Because social emotional learning is for the purpose of helping children who don't have support at home or maybe support of their peers to feel on level.
We have a poisonous culture infiltrating our school boards, our libraries, our classrooms, and it wants to remain ignorant, resistant to change, and victims of anything. They don't want to understand transsexuals at any age. They don't want their kids learning about same-sex parents and different types of families. They don't want to be reminded of how their privilege came to be. They want control, they're losing, and diversity weakens their argument, so they have to debase a symbolic boogeyman who isn't strong enough to fight back. So it looks like they've conquered the evil. And these saviors of conservative society almost always purport to be Christian.
You cannot claim to have a Christian heart or empathy or love of children and then support this type of rhetoric and this attack on programs that harms children, that isolates children, that makes children feel less than because they don't look like your kids, because they don't act like your kids' friends. In fact, you're just teaching your children that diversity is bullshit, and if kids act different than you, they should be pointed out. You support a bullying system in our schools, and you're going to enforce children to self-harm. So I just want you to have that on your conscience.
Look who's bullying now. Not leftists. How do we take back the narrative?